Closer. Well, hello everybody. My name is Connie Walker, and this is Medi Tigas. Hi. And we're from the National Optical Astronomy Observatory in Tucson, Arizona, in the U.S. of A. And with us here today on this Hangout are three special people. I'm going to start with Judith here, who's on the screen, and she's from Melbourne, Australia. Do you want to say hello, Judith?
Good morning.
And what organization today are you representing?
The International Dark Sky Association Victoria.
For Victoria, Australia.
Which is a new body. Yes, yes.
Well, suddenly your audio is very slow, but yeah. So IDA, International Dark Sky for Victoria, Australia. That's really wonderful. Thank you. And then we have also with us today Mike Chapman, who's a veteran now in terms of being part of our Hangouts. And Mike, do you want to say hello?
Hi, it's Mike Chapman. I'm with an organisation in Sydney called the Sydney Outdoor Lighting Improvement Society. It's a little bit like the IDA, but we work with city councils and local councils rather than organising dark sky parks and that sort of thing.
That's pretty cool.
And I could add that I've got a background in astronomy, and I'm currently completing a master's in architectural science with a specialisation in illumination design.
We have a lot of experts on the field here today. Judith is an expert in all things dark skies, and she'll be giving us advice, as well as Mike. And now we have a young man here who is in a PhD program. You want to tell us about yourself, Aníbal?
Hello there, I'm Aníbal de Paul from Argentina, from the Universidad Nacional de Tucumán, that is in the north of Argentina, near Chile and Bolivia. I am ending this year a PhD, hopefully, in visual optics. So here I am.
And what is the title, very slowly, what is the title of your PhD thesis? So
It's optical quality in visual periphery, something like that.
So you'll be able to give us lots of advice today.
Yeah.
If I ask Annabelle a question, what field is that study in? Is it like sort of neuroscience or psychology, or is it more like physical?
It's like a little of psychology and physics, because I'm studying about how the image of the outside world is getting in the retina. I don't know how to pronounce.
Yep.
I try to understand how this image of the world is projecting on the retina with the optics, simulating the optics of the eye and knowing about the aberration of the optic of the eye. But and psychophysics, because I use some like the how do you say, the observer, like the visual system, like a measurement. I don't know if I can explain very well.
No, I sort of understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Right. So that's really pretty cool, because part of the issues that are coming up now, and I think Mike and I talked about this in a previous Hangout a little bit, and I think with Pete Strasser perhaps at another Hangout, who's from IDA headquarters. There's this, people know that there are certain unsafe situations with terms of how much light we're getting in the blue, and the color temperatures and things like that. But they really don't know what the threshold is. Where is the danger point, basically, and how low can we go in terms of our lighting levels to make it safe for us? What are those levels? to be still task-oriented and get the job done, basically, but still be safe in terms of our health and about the environment that we're lighting up. So that's sort of the issue that we're talking about here today. This Hangout is on the Quality Lighting Teaching Kit. It's on the activity, a specific activity, one of 6, that's in the kit called Light Pollution and Safety. And what we'd like to do in just a few minutes is have Maddie just review that particular activity very briefly, because there's probably viewers out there eventually that will not have seen the really great tutorial video that Maddie stars in. It's only less than 9 minutes long, but it tells you in more detail what the activity is about. Anyways, I wanted to mention, please, if anyone is viewing at the moment, please know that there is a question and answer app, and that app should be at the upper right-hand side of your screen in the form of it's like a 3x3 squares that are like 9 squares in a 3x3 configuration. That's the Google, I guess, symbol. You click on that and you'll have 2 apps, one of which is called the Question and Answer app, and you can ask as many questions as you'd like. And both myself, Maddie, and our guests will be very, very happy to answer your questions. It could be mostly, hopefully, about the safety activity, but also about their expertise, because I'm sure they have questions that on safety or whatever that they might be able to answer for you. So let's see. So we mentioned the tutorial videos. There's not just the safety video, but there's also 5 other videos on the 5 other activities, and that's on our webpage. So let me show you just a screen share. We have a showcase that should be showing in your screen, at least after when this video is on YouTube. And you will see, for instance, if I can get that up here in a moment, 2 things are being showcased. One is our web page, and I'll bring that up just a second. Hopefully, I don't know if it's showcasing now, but it's our web page where all the activities are on, and that should be here. I don't know if it showcases at all. I'm unfamiliar with how this works, but it will be on flipping through as a showcase, and you'll see the URL for our web page that has all the activities and all the materials that you can download for free. And also being showcased is her video, Light Pollution Safety. So I think it's probably going to pop up either if you're a viewer now or when you're in YouTube mode after this video is done. You will see it running through as a showcase for these 2 URLs. And that, I hope, will be helpful to anyone who wants to use the materials. Okay? So without further ado, if it's all right with you guys, we're going to have Maddie just run through things pretty quickly here. And I'm going to bring our video camera, which is part of my computer, unfortunately, over to our main computer standing. And we'll just put it right. Actually. Oh, you want to sit right here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just for this part.
Okay.
Okay. So like she said, we're doing the safety activity for this hangout. So you guys might have already watched the videos. If you have, you'll know that this is one of 6 activities that come together as the whole kit. So basically what the kids that are completing these activities are trying to do are solve issues raised by concerned citizens in a, imaginary town or city. And so this activity just focuses on those safety issues. So the things that you're going to use are this box labeled safety, and then also you'll have a sheet that has recommended lighting levels, and also that'll be on the poster that we're going to screen share right now.
Yeah, I don't know if it's this one. Lighting, crime, safety. Oh, I see. It's over here, I think. Maybe not. Oh, okay. So I'm sorry. It takes me a while to get these things up. Now it should be up there. I just put on the screen share. It should be right here. This one is the lighting and the recommended lighting levels handout. So presentable to everybody.
Okay, good.
Hey!
Yeah, so this is what you're going to be comparing measurements to. It's just kind of a handy little guide. And also there are some of these lighting levels on the safety poster that is also in the kit.
Sure. We have it for you too, Anibal, in, let me get my cursor over here, in Spanish as well. So I hope you got that recently when I sent it to you.
Okay.
Yep, and I'm going to get this other one up here now. Come on. It takes a while. I don't know why it takes so long, but I think this one may be the one in Spanish. Let's see. Yep, it is. Okay.
Excellent.
So here's the one in Spanish. We also have it in English, obviously.
Yeah, so this is basically just to glaze over it. It addresses the safety issues. So basically, it discusses whether having more light is actually safer or not, because people feel safer, but it also casts shadows where people can hide and all sorts of problems. So we've also, like I said, got the public lighting standards on there, and there are also some key ideas that kids can Google to do some extra research. Yeah, I already talked about crime. So yeah, it's got a box for crime, which I mentioned before. More light isn't always safer. So then, if you look on the far right, they have we have the now try this box, and that's the activity that we're going to be doing. So as soon as I come back, we'll start talking about the activity.
I'm trying to get this darn cursor to come. I have two monitors, and sometimes getting the cursor to appear on one monitor versus the other can be a challenge.
Yeah, so this activity's got a much faster setup than the other ones, because you're really only using one piece of equipment, and then you're just recording your measurements. So what we've got in that black box that I showed you guys that's labeled safety is our luxmeter. So it looks like this. It looks like this. And what I wanted to talk about first is how to use it, because it's not complicated, but it could be kind of intimidating to somebody who hasn't seen one before. So what I want to point out are the buttons that we're going to be using, and stop me if you guys have any questions. So we've got the power button right here, which obviously turns it on and off. We've got the lux/FC, and that's lux or flip candles, so it toggles between the two. And we're just going to be using the lux option, because that's just what we're going to be using. So we're also going to use the range button, just those three. So I'll expand more on the range in a sec. But so this little sensor right here is what actually does the measurements. And what you're going to want to do is press the power button to turn it on. And you will always want to make sure the cap is closed, so that'll calibrate it. You'll know if it's calibrated by the numbers that are displayed. So you'll want 0. Then you'll open the cap. That'll... Yeah, well, I'm just going to show them the numbers. It'll come up with some numbers here. And one thing to mention is the numbers will move if there's movement in the room, because, if there's somebody blocking light, then it'll affect the measurement. If the most significant digit is 1, you're going to want to change the range, so this button right here. So that'll give you, an extra measure, or an actual measurement.
Like times 10 or something.
Yeah, it's got a little key here, sorry. So that key in the orange is what you'll go by.
So you have to be careful that on the bottom of the little display, it might say times 10. So you'd actually multiply your value by times 10 or times 100, things like that.
Placement is really important when you're using this because you don't want to take a measurement in, a spot that doesn't matter. So if I'm going to be taking a measurement in this room, it's like a work area, so like an office space. What I'll want to do is place the sensor flat on the table where I would be, using the most light. So, a foot or two away from my computer screen underneath the lights that are, turned on. So, yeah, that's basically how to use it. Do you guys have any questions about that? No?
Oh, probably these guys are experts.
Okay, yeah, I figured. Okay.
They probably use probably more than we have.
Okay, good. So then I'll just talk about the measurements that we took a while ago. These are the same exact ones that are in the video. Basically, we just took a couple of different measurements in 4 different areas. So the main office, like this room, a restroom, a library, and outside. And those are the results we got. See them. I don't want to, go through and read all the numbers, but like I mentioned in the video, we found that 2 were decently spot on. So our office right here was only off by 77, and then outside was, an okay measurement just because it was, 10:15 in the morning. So it just depends on what time of day you want to take that measurement. But yeah, so that's something you'll want to discuss with the students or whoever is doing the activity. You'll want to talk about, like, whether those measurements are what, you should be using. So do you actually need more light, or could you use less light to, accomplish the tasks that you need to do in those specific areas? Yeah, that's pretty much it. The kids will hopefully make posters or make presentations to discuss their results, and yeah.
So, for instance, the public lighting standards that we give them a sheet on. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, well, you don't need to see me, but okay. There's a sheet of a few pages. I don't know if it's 5 pages. It tells you about indoor lights, outdoor lights, natural light levels, all different scenarios that the kids can use to compare their results wherever they measured to the numbers that are on the sheet, and try to determine whether or not they actually could use less light and get by with still performing their task, whatever the task was. And it's a really good way when they get together with the other groups of trying to determine. Each group is doing something a little bit differently, but they're all coming together at the very end, hopefully, in the classroom, and determining how best to design whatever part of the city they're interested in. So for the light fixtures or the light levels or the color temperatures involved, all this can come together when they're planning that little part of the city, whatever it is. And so that's why doing something like Maddie was suggesting with the light levels that are over there on the wall, when you talk about the restroom or the library or outside or the main office, all those things, what the measurements are, what the standards are, what the difference is. Can you get by with less light? Did they have too much light? What could you do to fix that problem? I mean, there's a lot of cool things that kids can actually talk about and try to solve. So it's a very open-ended activity, and it's designed that way on purpose. I know sometimes in some classrooms that can be rather uncomfortable because they're not used to teaching that way. This is called problem-based learning in the United States, and I'm sure it's called that other places. But it's really been shown to be an effective way of teaching and getting the kids to have ownership over what they're doing by really being invested in trying to figure out what the problem is and then figure out what the solution is. And we're just hoping that this kind of spurs them in the right direction. So that's about the size of it, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And it's a great fun activity. Kids love to take measurements. So, okay. So I was going to first start with you guys and see if you had any questions on this. And if you want, we can start with the veteran of the group, which is Mike, and then go from Mike to Judith to Anibal, and see if you have any questions on either the activity or anything related to the activity.
Yeah, I think I'm probably okay with this. I'll probably also look up the Australian standards and make sure we've got the right numbers for Australian standards. Probably won't be much different.
That's a good point, Mike, because each country will have different standards, right?
Yeah, Australian standards tend to be more strict than in the UK. But I don't know how they relate to the US. I'll be taking this along to the Astrofest at Sydney University on Saturday night, because this is a really good activity that you can give out to kids and send them around to do things.
Okay, that's great. This is an outreach activity that you're thinking of using this as an outreach activity.
Yeah. Sydney Uni has this big Astrofest that they've organised on Saturday night. So lots of speakers, lots of different astronomy clubs turning up.
Oh wow, this is great. Yeah, let me know how it goes. So this is.
I'm just going to go to the door, Connie. Sorry.
You have to go to the door? Oh gosh. Okay. Well, I'll fill in for you. I'll just say.
Yeah.
Oh, and he didn't mute his mic either. Sorry about that, guys. I could actually mute it for you. Yeah. But this is a good example of one of the ways you can use the activity. I mean, you don't need just to use it in the classroom. You could do it in a very informal way with the public at a big event like he's suggesting that he's going to be using this Saturday. So that's good. That's a very good example. I appreciate that a whole lot. Okay. So, hi Judith. How are you?
Well, I've actually had a sky quality meter for several years, and I've been conducting a survey in Ballarat over a number of years, recording measurements in various locations.
Oh.
You did say about Melbourne before, but I actually live in Ballarat, and with the Ballarat Observatory, I've been doing this survey, and I use it with school groups in an informal way, as you said just before, taking measurements in different areas, and we just talk about it as, how can we make it better problem solving? It's a survey thing, because we actually go out to a site to do this, so we don't have a lot of resources with us. It's at night time. And we look at sites in the distance, comparing maybe 30 kilometres away and over 100 kilometres away in terms of, at this site, Ballarat's 30 kilometres away, Melbourne is over 100 kilometres away, but we can still see the light pollution from that. And for them to imagine how much levels of light must be there for us to see it so far away. And because it's a dark sky site where we're actually doing the activity, just using it as a tool. But your suggestion of using it in the actual classroom is a good one, for daytime measurements, different areas, and I might talk with Mike about the standards for different rooms. That's a good idea. Yes. My meter is a bit different to yours. I haven't actually got the kit because we've only got the two in Australia, and I'm going to sort of manufacture my kit. Fortunately, I have my own sky quality meter.
Okay, well, this is not a sky quality meter, but it's a luxmeter. Those are two different devices. Yeah, yeah. But the luxmeter, you know, I can
Well, I have, sorry.
Say it again, please. I didn't hear you, Judith.
Talking to me?
Yes, ma'am. I was wondering, I didn't hear what you had said.
The sky quality meter just takes a single measurement, and then we put it into an Excel program which calculates all of those things. It has a function in the program, so you can use it out in the field to just take the measurement, and then you can actually go back to the classroom and do all of that lux values and things like that. We put in the latitude and longitude for the location and the time as well. When you're taking measurements outside at night time from various locations, the time variation needs to be taken into consideration, how long after astronomical twilight, etc., and the time of the year, so that when I do my survey, I actually use the same time of the year at a new moon, so that the data is consistent, relatively consistent for the controlling factors. I do it actually each year.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, we use sky quality meters as well, but they're in magnitudes per square second, and they're for low-level light situations. The lux, yeah, the lux meter, of course, is in different units, and it's used primarily for bright light sources to measure their effects. And so we do use them both indoors and outdoors, but because classrooms are typically, you know, indoors during the daytime, we want the students to become familiar with what we mean by, you know, excessive light levels. So we have them do experiments with the lux meter in a variety of locations in their schools, and we have that piece of paper that has different light levels on it. I don't really know if, in effect, it matters too much that there's the IES standards for the North and South America, basically, or North America, and there's the CIE standards for most of the rest of the world, basically. I don't really know if it matters too much, as long as you're looking at standards and you're comparing to them. I mean, you can personalize it to your own country. That's perfectly fine and very understandable. But the point is to really get the kids thinking about how much light they really do need, and not you know. And it's startling sometimes to find out that is too much light. You could do brain surgery under some of the lights that we have. So, I mean, is that really necessary, right? And, you know, by using the minimal amount of light that you need, you still get the job done, and you can save energy and cost in the process. So there's a lot of, and still stay safe. That's the whole issue. You know, staying safe, especially outside at night. And then, of course, if you want to, you get into the kind of fixtures that are appropriate fixtures that are not necessarily lighting up the tops of trees, but are lighting up the sidewalk where you need it. So, I mean, there's a lot of kind of decent issues you can get across to the students. And who knows, maybe these students someday will be the engineers that develop these light fixtures, or they might be the urban planner that designs the park or whatever. But, I mean, it's kind of you know, just to get the point across to the kids, it's a very easily solved issues, basically. So that's my soapbox. Sorry about that.
Question?
Yes, ma'am.
Is the lux meter freely off the shelf? Can you get it off the shelf? Is it freely available?
This one is
independently?
Yes, it's by. This one's by. Well, there's a couple companies. I think it's by Dr. Meter. Dr. Meter is the name of the company. And it's made in China. Yeah, Dr. Meter is this one here, and it's only $32 US. I think it's in here too.
I might get one of those then and add to our kit then.
And this one we've done a lot of experimentation. There's the $10 version. There's the $100 and something version. But this $32 version works just as well, and it survives the drop test by students.
Yeah.
It's that little orange thing around it. You can take it out again because we'll probably look at it again anyway. But it has that orange buffer or that rubber that's around the unit. And it really does help because kids are not always, you know, I mean, they drop things. So it's very important to design your kit that way. So hi, hey, Anibal, do you have a visitor?
Yes, he's Oscar.
Oscar, do you remember me?
Hi, Oscar. Hey, let me put this on screen here.
Say hello.
You're not coming on screen here for some reason. There you are. Hi, Oscar. Oops. Look at you back. There you are.
He's my roommate.
Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you, dude.
So, Anibal, are you in an office in a building somewhere, or?
No, we share the house. We share home.
Ah, I thought the furniture looked too nice to be an office. So tell me. Good.
Yes.
Tell me what your thoughts are on this activity. Do you have any questions?
Well, maybe it's about do you know the uniformity when you are actually doing the measure of the quantity of light. I mean, we went to the school here in Argentina near the city, maybe in the I don't know how to say well, like 60 kilometers from here, from the city.
Mm-hmm.
It was very nice because this kind of kids are very, very poor. Actually, they don't think about light. It's like they are living in the country. I don't know how to say in farms. So when we talk about the lighting measure, they were very very, how do you say, surprised about this kind of things. It was very nice for us. The thing is that this guy became with some nice ideas about how to use the sensor, and they asked me if they can measure it in a vertical, I don't know how to say, plane with a chalkboard. They began to use the luxmeter in many ways that I couldn't believe. So actually,
you have it with you? Do you have the meter with you?
No.
Give an example.
Maybe like something like that.
Okay.
In this position,
Mm-hmm.
vertical. I say vertical
What about the
plane.
sensor? It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what this is doing. It matters what the sensor is doing. So you're talking about the sensor now?
Yeah, the sensor. About the sensor.
Mm-hmm.
With the cap, they put the sensor in the chalkboard, you know, for measure the light that was reaching. How to say, Oscar? ¿Cómo se dice pizarrón? Whiteboard.
Oscar's very good English, yeah, but you're doing great. I don't know what the Jaguar is, but I'm trying to.
How do you say when you write in a classroom? You know, there is
the whiteboard.
The whiteboard.
Yes. Oh,
the whiteboard.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they want to measure the light that was hitting the whiteboard.
Yeah. Very good.
You know?
That's yeah. I can understand that. That's great.
Yeah, that was nice because they understand the thing that we need to measure in how do you say, in places where you have to do some visual activities, you know, like reading, and not only reading in the horizontal plane with the book, but actually reading in the white chalk. I don't know how to say.
Whiteboard.
In the whiteboard.
Yeah.
So it was like, and another thing, I have to say that we measure in the classroom near windows and far of the window. So we have like a a lot of luxes, I don't know how to say. The quantity was like something like that. Near the window was a lot of light, and far the window was a little light. So it was like a lot of measure in the classroom, and I have to tell there that was called uniformity of light in the when you are design lighting, you have to use this kind of parameter of I don't know how to, I don't know if you are understanding me, Connie. Can you help me?
In the classroom where it's lit, you mean, instead of just outside light, you want it to be uniform?
Yeah, and that was the problem of safety. Maybe you have a lot of light, but you have some bad design, and that was I have to tell him about the bad design of light, maybe.
Well, there's two things I can think of from what you're saying. One is how they measure. I love the way they use the sensor vertically because they wanted to know on certain areas how the light performed and how they like, for instance, if you're in front of your computer, like Maddie was saying, you want to place it where your eyes are going to be. How much light level are you actually seeing? Or if you're in the bathroom washing your hands, that you're going to put it right in front of the mirror there, or very close to the faucet, right? You just can't haphazardly take these measurements. You want to make it where you're going to be using the light. So that's very important to notice, like you're saying as well. The other thing is you can also extrapolate what you're doing to outside situations. For instance, when they have a parking lot. Now, to uniformly illuminate a parking lot, you have to know how to space the poles, the street light poles that are in the parking light poles that are in the parking lot. You have to know what heights they should be. They have to have a really good fixture so that you're looking at the light on the ground and not necessarily the light that's in the fixture, right? You don't want to see the source. You want to see the effect. So all these things, when you're designing something, have to be taken into effect. And I'm sure when they're playing around with their measurements, they're wanting to know how uniformly everything is lit for that entire parking lot. I mean, and if a person's coming from a building where they work and they're coming out at night and they're going to that parking lot to get into their car, I mean, you want it to be a safe situation. So it's not just a matter of everything staying as dark as you possibly can have it. You want it also to be as safe as you possibly can have it. But then again, not overly lit, if that makes any sense. So yeah, there's a lot of good things for kids even to think about, let alone lighting designers. So yeah, and I also like what you said about taking measurements at different distances to see how the light basically falls off. So you had that light, was it coming in from the window, and you were doing it at the window, and then you were doing it further away, you said? Yeah. That's a project into itself. If you have a source that you want to know how it falls off as you go further and further away, that's a great graphing project for the kids, taking measurements as you go away from the source along a straight line and making a little graph and seeing how the light levels fall off. If that's what the teacher wants them to learn, that's a good application right there as well. So.
Yeah, we use a lot of the whole key of the luxmeter. Do you know? The whole key?
Yes, the whole key. Right.
Right here. You press that and the measure is still fixed. You can write the number and make some calculation.
Let's see if it works. Did it hold?
It hold?
Yeah, it held. Yeah, so they can write that down. Yeah, that's good. You're right, absolutely. Yeah, because sometimes you'll notice, and we've noticed this quite extensively, that you just move a slight bit. You put your arm into the picture here, and the luxmeter will just go kind of haywire. So it is good to, when you can, to hold that measurement and take down the data. So, yeah. Yeah, and to take repeated measurements too is a good thing too, and average it. That's a good lesson for kids to learn as well.
Mhm.
Good. All right. Wow. That's excellent. Excellent. Any more questions? So let me ask you then, Anibal, you have used this in a classroom situation already with these people that are in what we would call a rural site that's not near a
Yeah.
city, it's outside the city?
Yeah, maybe we went to school near the city, about 60 kilometers far away from here, from the downtown. Um, uh, it was great. I can say that the kids there, they don't know about lighting. You know, they use like they have two or three maybe public lighting, and all the town is like 20 houses or home. And we went today. It was a cloudy day, and they asked me about what happened when the sun is in the sky, and what happened when it was a cloudy day. And they actually have interesting question about the light here in the in your at this location. We were thinking about bring this kid to the city, talk about how important is light, artificial light in the city for us. And they were very happy with this idea. We actually trying to pay some transport for them. Maybe I hope it will be a great experience for these guys.
A field trip.
Excuse me?
They call it a field trip? Take a field
Yeah, field trip to the city. It's like the opposite.
Yeah. Oh, that's really cool. I hope you get to do that.
I hope.
Sounds like a worthwhile experience for them. And let me tell you, though, one thing that's really cool about being out there a little bit away from the city, where you only have a few lights, like you were saying, is we have this. We have another program called Globe at Night, and they could take measurements. I don't know if you've ever seen this program before, and just by looking at it's on an app, but it's not really an app. It's a web-based web page that they can get on. It acts just like an app. They could take data on what they see and how it compares to 7 different images. The first one being like in New York City, and the last one being like in the rural areas where there's lots of stars. So New York City, you see 2 stars, right, towards a constellation, and otherwise you'd see a lot of stars in the last picture. And it's really an easy thing to do. You could take sky quality meter measurements, whatever you'd like to do. And it's all explained on the website. It's globeatnight.org. Okay, just in case you might be interested in getting the kids active in that. And they could do it, there's 10 days each month when the moon's not out. Just like Judith was saying, she tries to take her measurements with the SQMs when there's no moon out in the early part of the evening, and the kids are up still. And that's about 10 days each month or so. That kind of situation is available when you don't have the moon as a light bulb in the night sky, natural light bulb. So, yeah, and so we have, we counted them the other day. Get this, guys. We counted, since the beginning of the program 10 years ago, 180 countries have been involved in this program. Can you imagine? 180, and we have about 155,000 measurements, which is really cool. So thank you, everybody. And
we actually have a link for that on our Ballarat Observatory site. We've had a link to it for a few years now.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah, we really enjoy doing that program. We just put on a whole bunch of guides for the next Globe at Night, which is happening, I think it starts on Thursday, just 2 days from now. The next 10-day campaign starts on Thursday. So if you're at your event this weekend, Mike, you can advertise the Globe at Night thing as well, if you'd like. And kids love doing it, Anibal. So you might enjoy it yourself, or they might enjoy it. So enough of that Globe at Night. But anyways, I just thought I'd throw that in there because it was such an opportune moment. Sorry about that. So, okay. So what do you think some issues are that kids should address, Mike? And when the teachers are out doing this particular activity, what points do you think should be we should get across to the students?
Yeah. I'm going to come at it from a slightly different direction because I'm now with this background in lighting, and so
okay. Look at it from that background. Good.
One of the big things is the standards and what the standards say, and you'll find that anybody in lighting is going to light to the standards, basically. So, irrespective of the idea that maybe you need less light, someone's going to light standards. So maybe one of the good example I can give you is one place I worked recently. I had a desk where I took the light meter in and got 460 lux on the desk I was working on, which is pretty high, actually. And but anyway, they moved us around. I went upstairs, went to another part where there are other people working. They had like 20 lux on the desk.
That's quite a difference.
That's 20 lux is, you can sort of work in 20 lux. I sort of struggled a little bit. So whilst I would agree that it's good to encourage people to have an understanding of how much light they need to do something, you also have to accept that the industry is going to enforce the standard.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's why we use the standards to compare to. But even so, I think, and we have them look at the standards and take the difference and see how close they are or not, and to see whether if they're way under, if that was still the amount of light they could have used to get the job done. So, I mean, it's rethinking things a little bit because, I mean, they are going to be the people who could probably change things if it needs to be changed in the future. So,
of course, like the big argument at the moment is CCT, and
do you want to explain CCT?
Well, yes, I'd like to, but I probably don't have quite enough time to sort of get it out in like a couple of minutes. But like CCT is correlated color temperature, and so basically you might call it the quality of the color of the light. And so now there's high CCT, which is like 5,000 to 6,000 Kelvin, and that would be like a bluish white light. And then there's the other end, there's like 2,700 to 3,000 Kelvin, and that would be called like a warm white light, and would probably be yellowish color. In the big argument recently, though, is because the AMA came out and were saying lighting should be done at around 2,700 to 3,000 Kelvin. And a recent response from the Lighting Research Centre was saying, well, the AMA is wrong and should be more considered when they're making their statements. The research might suggest that at the higher CCT, there's a better opportunity to detect movement under lower light levels than a similar light level using a lower CCT. So there are issues like that that probably need to be explained to people. And of course, it's relevant now because if people have been paying attention to the this argument that's now sort of developed between the AMA and the lighting industry. Yeah. So hopefully in the next couple of days I'll write something up about it so I can hand it out as a pamphlet at the Astrofest on Saturday night.
That's interesting. Have you talked to IDA, the International Dark Sky Association, about this? Because it's an interesting perspective.
Yeah. Not yet.
What I've heard you say, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is that you might still consider high color temperatures, but at low intensity of high color, because you could detect motion better than at lower temperature CCTs. Is that right?
Yeah, well, that's basically what the industry would be saying about why they use a high CCT.
Is that backed up by research?
Yeah, the industry would say this.
So this is so.
I've actually read a paper recently which says that the human through the day has a warm light, a warm coloured light from the sun. Although we have white light, the dominant tone is a warm tone, and that is how the human has evolved, with the warm light. And what is your opinion on that, that we should try and duplicate that at night with warm tones?
Well, I don't necessarily...
In terms of food and the environment, a cold light gives off a totally different response than a warm light in terms of human response, emotions, atmosphere, things like that.
Well, I don't necessarily have an opinion at the moment, but I'm just saying what the industry research is saying and what they will quote when you tell them that you want to have lights at lower CCT.
Wow.
Yeah.
Boy, this is going to be exciting in the next year or two, I think.
Well, you'll get a chance at the Allen conference.
Yeah.
One of the major protagonists will be at the Allen conference.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, there's an artificial light at night, and they abbreviated ALAN, Artificial Light at Night Conference, and it's being held in Romania at the very end of September, like the 28th. It starts for a few days, somewhere outside of Bucharest, but I'm not really sure where. I can't remember the name of it.
Clue.
Say it again, please.
It's a place called Cluj-Naponica.
Thank you. So if anyone is really interested in these issues, that's a great conference to go to. So I'll put the plug in for them there.
Luna Blanc, where?
Is it Annabelle? Annabelle? What's that?
The name of the Luna Blanc.
I should advertise it to all of you because all the young students should know about this. It's called the Artificial Light at Night Conference, and it's going to be in Romania. It starts, I think, September 28th.
September 28th.
Registration's going on now. I think they might have already closed the abstracts, but still, the people involved in presenting are very well-known people in the field, different fields, all different fields of how, could be from health to actually lighting design to parks, to very different issues. So I think you'd enjoy it if you came. So Aníbal, tell me, with your thesis that you're working on and related issues to the safety issue here, do you see any, when you talk about perception, what do you see as the relation here? Because you're looking at perception, right?
Not perception. It's about optics, visual optics.
Right,
maybe visual optic, yeah. Actually, it was very difficult to me trying to relate these two things. But what Mike was saying about the tech motion and all that kind of thing is very perceptual thing. I I didn't know that if the light is more bluish, no, Mike?
Yes. Yeah.
Like,
It's like you can detect motion easier. I don't know if I got the idea of my maybe yeah, maybe we can think about something like that, or how doing some little measurement about this kind of thing. But that's the part of psychophysics. In optics, in the optic of the eye, uh, I don't know how to relate this kind of thing of safety of good light design with eyes. Maybe in the other subject of the equipment that you sent to us, it was like a glare thing. You remember?
um, yeah, the
Are you
glare.
understanding? The glare thing about the starry light in the eye and the
Yes.
intraocular diffusion and something like that. But I don't know how to relate that kind of thing with the safety problem in light design and all that the thing that we are talking about here.
Right. Well, you have
Did you
discovered
understand?
glare, or do you have disability glare, and they're caused by light sources that are stressing the eye basically in various ways. So yeah, that's part of the light pollution and glare activity, and
Yeah.
it's part of the kit as well. So you should have the little box of materials for that as well.
Yeah, but if you have some idea about how can we relate the optic of the eye with this kind of thing of light design, or trying to explain the kids how I don't know, maybe another day with new ideas.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Do you mean the way we have it set up in the other activity is we have those 4 different sheets of inkjet transparencies, and we try to simulate cataracts when they have the light, basically the lights in their eyes, and they put 1, 2, 3, 4 layers of the inkjet transparency and try to see how bad the eye. You have that what they call veiling illumination, basically, that occurs when you have cataracts and a light source that's in your eye, basically, and you see some people see starbursts. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's right. No, I was saying that the contrast in the retina is lower,
Yes.
so you have problem with distinguish about this kind of stimuli in the eye, because this the striate light or the veiling luminance that is like a model of that.
No, that's exactly right, and it's we have these activities, it's true, but they overlap. They really do. So when you talk about safety, you are talking in part about issues of glare as well, and so you have those 2 subjects overlapping in this case, because safety and having glare in a situation where you're trying to be safe is an issue. So you have to address that as well. So we talk about, there's different solutions. Well, mostly it's either dimming the light or it's shielding the light for that case of the glare. So, and in many cases with safety in general, if you look at our, I don't know if I should put it back up here again, but if you look, screen share, hold on a second. I think it might be this one. Start screen share and present to everybody. Let me try that. Present. So you should see. This is our. This is the one in Spanish again. But if you look at the pictures at the very top there, there's a glare bomb basically on the side of a garage, and once you shield it, even just with your hand, you can actually see the person who's in the gate
Yeah.
right here. So that's an amazing thing to me, actually. And the other issue that I probably should have magnified these pictures a bit, but the other thing that the poster shows is how you can have a badly constructed or positioned, I should say, fixture so that it's above the trees and not lighting below, right below here. It's all shadows instead of a nicely lit walkway. So you have a person who's standing there, but they literally have moved only 4 feet or a little over a meter in one direction, and you can't see them in the second picture at all, basically. And again, that's because the light fixture is badly placed in this particular scenario, and they're actually standing right against the pole, and you can't really even see them. So it's all a matter of, the fixture and how you place the light. And of course, dimming the light if you don't need as much light. I mean, there's a lot of different issues you can have. Going to a warmer light, perhaps, if the condition allows you to. So, a lot of good things to think about for the kids. So it is related to glare. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Let me just stop this here. Oh, I need to hang up. You guys still there?
Yep.
Okay, good. I almost hit the disconnect button, but we are at the top of the hour, and so that might have been a sign. I do want to thank everybody. I mean, you guys, I think I could talk for another half an hour with you all. I think it would be wonderful, but we try to confine this to about an hour long, and I just want to thank you again. Anibal, I hope you'll join us again, and then also, so we can pick your brain on what you're studying and how it applies to all these activities. I think that's really wonderful, and I really appreciate the expertise of both Judith and Mike, and all of they've been fighting the good fight with respect to keeping the skies dark and lighting sensibly or responsibly, and I really do appreciate that, and how it applies to the activities here as well. And Maddie, who I admonish everybody, please, if you can, to try to see her video. She did an excellent job, as did the other 5 students on each of the other 5 activities. Yeah, if you have any more questions, don't feel shy about asking offline. My email is simply cwalker@n, as in Nancy, oao.edu. I'm available all waking hours. And we're going to have another one of these particular Hangouts on Thursday, and it's situated time-wise for the other half of the world. So people that are in Europe and Africa primarily, and also the Americas, will get to be viewers on that, or guests if they so choose. Let me know if you'd like to do that. And that'll happen Thursday at 3 p.m. or 15 hours UT, or Universal Time, or Greenwich Mean Time, on Thursday, the 28th of July. And then next week, same time, same channel, Tuesday and Thursday again, but on the last topic, which will be on the energy activity. And Elliot, our student, will be joining us at that time. And that's what he's the expert in. So anyway, so I appreciate you guys coming again. And please feel free to come back next week. All right?
Right.
Okay. Anibal, it was a pleasure meeting you.
Yeah, me too.
Great to meet you, Annabelle.
Keep Oscar in line, okay?
Okay, no problem. Great.
Okay.
Bye, Judith. Bye, Mike.
Bye.
Bye, Julie. Bye, Connie.
Bye.